More than 50,000 fans have jammed in to Angel Stadium, the Big A in Anaheim, California, just outside of Los Angeles on a cool night. But the fans are on fire because Monster Jam is back in the Los Angeles area. The biggest superstars in the business ready to go for the wins, and you're going to see it on Monster Jam.
Who's ready for Monster Jam? Hold on, baby. Here goes the camper.
Moment's 7th World Championship.
Dennis Anderson is the world racing champion.
Racing action has been thrilling all night long at Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California, as we bring it down and get ready for the championship race and then a whole night full of freestyle. Here's the way the brackets have been working out. The semifinals, Gravedigger knocking off Batman. Blue Thunder had to go head-to-head with Bulldozer to earn his spot in the championship race. But indeed, there'll be two of the biggest, highest-profile trucks in the business. Gravedigger and Blue Thunder squaring off for this victory. One of the major events of the West Coast season in Monster Jam action in the United States. There's a good look at the veteran Tony Farrell driving for the Detroit-based Blue Thunder Ford team. And in the other lane, the icon Dennis Anderson in his 26th year driving the Gravedigger, that unique 1950 Chevy panel van takes the green. And Farrell and Anderson get off the line virtually even. These two war horses have battled each other all over the world for years, and it's come down to another championship test for both of them. A slight edge to Dennis Anderson as they really crank for that Ford finish line. And Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger, in a very narrow, hard-fought victory, will be going to the winner's stage. We're going to get a look at the margin of victory as Dennis celebrates his victory in Anaheim. You see it, about a truck length and a half. The win goes to Gravedigger.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's winner in racing, Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger. It's been a long, long time. Who cares how long it's been now? But, man, you're going to add more to your collection.
I tell you, man, I'm enjoying myself out here tonight. I was a little nervous, had a lot of pressure when I came in. Been out here for 26 years, and 26 years because of you guys up there in the stands. To me, this night is just like Vegas. I'm not kidding you. I haven't seen you guys in so long. I didn't know y'all still love me the way you love me. We got those fan letters. I got those emails. That's what got my butt out here. I love you guys. I'm not done. I want to double down, and this truck is going to be drilled in the ground. Freestyle coming up.
Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger!
That's Scott Raines doing the honors in Anaheim. I'm Scott Douglas. Glad to have you along because we're going freestyling here in Anaheim, California. And up first, George Bellhand behind the wheel of an Escalade. And what he does so well is ride the wheelies, and look at that one. What a way to start as he has turned this crowd on. They are on fire. The Escalade, one of the most unique vehicles in all of Monster Jam. George Bellhand kind of with his own style. That's why he doesn't paint it up, doesn't put a name on it. He says when this big black Escalade rolls into town, you know George Bellhand is behind the wheel, ready to burn some things up. The only Monster Jam truck that actually has the spinner wheels, the neon lights underneath the truck. And boy, does George know how to freestyle. 3 judges will determine his fate. They each can score him 1 to 10. We'll combine the scores together, and that will determine who gets the victory here in this freestyle competition. The numbers in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, that's the time clock. It counts it down from 90 seconds to 0, and if a truck stops with any time left on that clock, the judges will deduct points because one of the first rules of Monster Jam Freestyle is you must fill the entire 90-second clock, and it looks like George is well on his way to doing that right now. George Bellhand, who had one of the real highlights of last year's Monster Jam season when he put on a display during freestyle in Gothenburg, Sweden, with one of the most amazing leaps ever seen anywhere on the planet, and he has continued to take that momentum back to the United States, where he is having a great year this time around. And it's going to be a full run for George Bellhand as he will fill the clock in that spectacular looking Escalade, and look out over on his roof just as the clock expires. And you would think the judges are going to really like that, although look at the scores. They are all over the board. One judge only gave him 3. Not sure what that judge was watching, but the total is a 16. That is the score that is put on the board for George Belham. A new face in Monster Jam, Matthew Powers behind the wheel of Shattered, a truck that we haven't seen much on televised competition, trying to make a name for himself as he goes into action against the biggest superstars in Monster Jam and does a nice job with the little slap wheelie as he comes off that first jump. One of the things the judges look for, though, is a comparison truck to truck. And the problem for Shattered trying to pull those slap wheelies is that Escalade with George Belham did such a phenomenal job on his slap wheelies. Those are going to be tough to beat. But Shattered right now seeming to be in some difficult areas. There may be a problem with his rear steer. Now, in Monster Jam trucks, they steer the back wheels separately from the front wheels. There is a toggle switch that the driver can push to the right or the left to make the rear wheels turn independently from the front wheels. And it looked like for just a moment he couldn't get those to work, although now the rear steer does appear to be working again. So there could be some steering problems for Shattered, but to his credit, the young driver is fighting his way through it. As he heads toward the final 20 seconds, a little bit of an uneven run, but it has had some spectacular moments. We'll see how the judges like it. Again, the scores look like they are really going to be hard to figure. And whoa, really low scores here. A 2, 2, and a 3. Only a total of 7 for Matthew Powers driving the Shattered ride. Now, the world racing champion, who's a pretty daggone good freestyler in his own right, John Cisak in Batman. You can see damage sustained earlier in racing has torn away the entire front nose piece of the Batman truck, but that's all cosmetics. Batman, according to his crew chief Cody Saucier, is at 100% and ready for this freestyle, trying to rip it up in Anaheim. Again, it is a capacity crowd just outside of Los Angeles, one of the most rabid fan bases that Monster Jam has anywhere in the world. Monster Jam events will come several times to this facility and sell out each time every year. And once again, it is a sellout this night. Beautiful night, just a little cool here in Anaheim, but the weather conditions are great because the rain not coming down. You can see the track holding up very well, and it's allowing the Monster Jam superstars to really get some great runs on this freestyle course. Batman, nice save. John Cisak got it up on 2 wheels. It looked like it was headed over, obviously, and it takes that driver talent, the patience, knowing right when to get back on the throttle or to touch the brake. John Cisak did it brilliantly and got himself out of a bad situation, and the run continues inside of 20 seconds to go to fill the clock. Batman sustaining a lot of damage tonight, but the fans loving it nonetheless. This truck, one of the most popular in the entire world, and again, John Cisak, at the pinnacle of his career, is now the world racing champion, and he has dumped it right as the clock goes to 0, so that will not cost him any points off his score by ending the run short. The totals are coming up right now. One judge loved it. One judge gives him a 9, 7, and a 6 from the other 2 judges, so it will be enough to give Batman the lead with a total of 22 out of a possible 30 points here in this Anaheim freestyle. Let's one more time at that rollover. Well, Candace Jolly brings out the Monster Mutt Dalmatian. The young lady from Naples, Florida, been making quite a name for herself here in her 2nd season driving a Monster Jam machine. Debuted a year ago and then did a very smart thing. When she got the opportunity, she took the Monster Mutt Dalmatian over on the World Tour to an extensive run of European cities in the 2007 season, and because of that, she has gained immense seat time and really has returned this year looking a lot like a veteran instead of a driver just in her 2nd year. One of the most unique trucks in the industry, obviously, with all the extras, the tongue hanging out, the tail wagging, the ears flying in the wind, and all that has made this one of the most popular trucks among all the children who come out to watch Monster Jam, and especially when they come out early for the pit parties and a chance to get up close to the truck and get a picture with Candace and an autograph. No question, Candace Jolly and the Monster Mutt Dalmatian, always popular wherever they appear, and right now she's putting on a nice show here in freestyle. Probably needs, though, a couple of big spectacular moments here in the last 30 seconds if she's going to be able to overtake the performance that we just saw John Cisak put down to take the lead. Again, you can hear and feel the power as Candace Jolly winds up that 1,500 horsepower motor that gives all the steam to the Monster Mutt Dalmatian. Down to her final 10 seconds. She's not going to have any problem filling the clock, apparently, although now she has stopped with about 7 seconds left on the clock. It'll be a slight deduction because she didn't take it all the way to 0. The scores aren't bad. It's a total of 17, so that'll put the Monster Mutt Dalmatian in 2nd place. Well, now you get a look at a rising star indeed, one of the fastest rising stars in Monster Jam. This is Bobby Parr driving the Makita Team Suzuki ride. The native Texan has just been on a tear since he debuted in Monster Jam a year ago. Like Candace Jolly, this is just his 2nd year driving a Monster Jam machine. But Bobby has had a ton of motorsports experience. He has run the big hill climbing races, the Baja races. He's been an off-road racer. He spent several years riding ATVs and quads in competition, and now he is behind the wheel of Team Suzuki, and that was a very nice controlled slap wheelie. Notice he just let it hang up there, didn't give it too much throttle, and just let it roll on those back wheels, and a nice job by Bobby Parr for Team Suzuki. The score to beat remains at 22 from Batman. He has the leader. If Bobby Parr can give 40 more strong seconds like he started, he might just get that lead away from Batman because he has been outstanding in the first minute of his scheduled 90-second run. Now, kind of looking for something to hit. He's kind of searching. This is a point where he needs to pull out some big shots. And there's a nice sky wheelie as he puts it up on that unique dirt mound that sits right in the middle of the freestyle course here in Anaheim. Bobby Parr for Team Suzuki, a driver who in his rookie year earned a berth into the Monster Jam NGK Spark Plugs World Finals. And look at this, end over end, it lands on all fours and he's still rolling. He is still going. Listen to this crowd. They're loving it. What a move from Bobby Parr. Team Suzuki may have just gone into 1st place. That was spectacular. Well, the fans are still going crazy. Nobody is sitting in Anaheim. 50,000 plus on their feet cheering this young superstar. And you can see he's on fire now. The run is over in terms of the scored time, and he is still going because he is just pumped up after that end-over-end flip that fortunately landed on all fours, and just for fun, he's going to dump it over again. What a performance, and the scores will be enough to take the lead. It's a 23, Bobby Parr and Team Suzuki. Let's watch this again. When it clips the back wheels like that, that's where you get into an end-over-end situation. Fortunately for Parr, it went ahead and flipped back over onto all 4 wheels, and to the credit of the Monster Jam officials, they did not shut his truck off, which they can do with their remote ignition interrupters, but they let it go. They let the truck continue to run. Bobby continued to put down an outstanding performance, one that puts him in the lead. Now Bulldozer is back on the circuit after taking a couple of years off of the Monster Jam Tour. Bulldozer is back out and looking strong with Chuck Warner behind the wheel. Now this is a team truck for the Team Mintz operation, which also fields the Maximum Destruction team that we'll see a little bit later. And looky there, a broken wheel. That left front wheel is not turning, and he's not going to be able to do much. Chuck will try to continue to see if he can get it going, but the truck will not do much with that wheel there. Actually, he'd be better off if the tire was flat or if the wheel totally broke off, because then you can at least do some things, lift that front end up. But now that wheel not turning is a liability. He'll just try to do some donuts, but that's probably about all he's going to be able to do. Well, I don't know, unless you can get it up on 2 wheels. If he can drive it on 2 wheels, he'll be fine because the right side wheels are fine. But again, such a huge liability with that left front wheel not turning, something broken in the knuckle or in the spindle, whatever it is. And now, whatever it was, it has been worked loose. Maybe there was something stuck in there because now the wheel is rolling, but Chuck shuts it down, and the scores obviously are going to be very low, only a 4 for Chuck. Well, the new look El Toro Loco, you can see earlier some issues in racing, tore off the horns that are normally adorning the top of the El Toro Loco machine, but the truck back to 100%, at least in terms of the way it's going to run, and this guy will run the wheels off of it. Lupe Sosa, former World Freestyle Champion, driving the El Toro Loco machine. El Toro, one of the best known and popular trucks in the entire world. Lupe Sosa has run it all over the world, but again, has made his biggest name a few years ago when he walked into Las Vegas and grabbed a piece of the World Freestyle Championship. Lupe looking better than ever, more confident than ever this year. Part of that is because of his new teammate, his crew chief. RL Race, considered one of the best crew chiefs in the business, became available this year, and Lupe was able to get him on his team. And RL has done a phenomenal job of keeping that truck running, but it's not going to run there. You can see the front suspension piece is breaking off, and it's only going to be a score of 13 for Lupe Sosa. Disappointed in his run at El Toro Loco. Now, the built Ford Tough Blue Thunder with Tony Farrell, the driver who hails from North Vernon, Indiana, in the heartland of the United States. The team, though, is based in the Motor City of Detroit because that truck is completely sponsored corporately by Ford Trucks. It is considered the main Ford monster truck. That is the one the Ford team really comes out to support and puts their sponsorship behind. And Tony Farrell has been a driver for the Blue Thunder team now for several years and really is loved by that camp and does a phenomenal job for them everywhere he goes. Now, you gotta like this. He comes out right away and starts cross-threading or hitting the obstacles from a different angle than the other drivers have. Those are the kind of things that will score points with the judges when you can do something that no one else has been able to do. Now remember, we're more than halfway through this competition, and your leader remains Bobby Parr and the Team Suzuki ride with a total of 23 points. 30 seconds left for Tony Farrell to try and take that lead away. He's doing one thing the judges look for, and that is hit everything out there and hit it from different angles than other drivers have done. Let's see what Tony's got for his last 20 seconds. Wow, he is going to go over, pirouette. Look at this thing going. Oh, he couldn't quite get it back over. If he could have got a little more kick on the back end, he would have landed it on the wheels. The judges loved it, though, because we've got a new leader. It's a score of 24. Tony Farrell and Blue Thunder, look at this wild, spectacular roll to wrap it up. And, you know, the judges, one of the things about Monster Jam Freestyle, the fans judge it. 3 fans are selected to be the judges, so you get different judges who like different things because freestyle has always been about the fans. It is clear that these judges are most impressed by what you do at the end, and if you can flip it over and go crazy, they're giving you more points for it. So the drivers who are coming later, I'm sure, are paying attention to that, and we may see some more spectacular rolls near the end of that clock because it's clear the judges are rewarding that type of move here. Now, Rick Swanson, the driver of the Obsession, has been one of the best in the western part of the United States for years and has ventured out a little bit to some other areas, but Rick is especially well known in cities like Los Angeles for the outstanding performances he has given year after year in venues like Angel Stadium. But he's having a problem right here, something really not clicking for Obsession early on. That is a negative, by the way, in terms of the judges' criteria, how they are told to score. If a truck moves in reverse and doesn't hit anything, doesn't make a move, that is considered a negative, and you're actually advised to deduct a point because you're not supposed to put it in reverse unless you're hitting an obstacle in reverse. Swanson continues down to the final 30 seconds. My guess is he really needs to be spectacular over these final 30 if he's going to push Tony Farrell out of the hot seat. The hot seat is where the leader goes in freestyle, and you sit in the hot seat until somebody beats your score. So right now, Tony Farrell has that location just off to the side of the course. So Rick Swanson continues on. It looks like he'll fill the clock, but he certainly has not been able to put on the kind of moves that Tony Farrell did in Blue Thunder, so I would not expect that this run will challenge for the lead. It just doesn't look like the truck is at 100%. It's still running, but it is not a typical Obsession freestyle. So Swanson clearly battling with some mechanical issues, and they'll get it straightened out, I'm sure, for next week's competition of Monster Jam. Well, the clock is filled. He's still running, so he's going to try to give the Monster Jam fans everything he can give them in his Obsession machine. But once again, not the kind of spectacular moves that we saw from Team Suzuki and, of course, with our current leader, Tony Farrell and Blue Thunder. And I would imagine when we see the judges' scores here in a moment, it will reflect just that. But again, to Rick's credit, scores may be in, time may be done, but he continues on just to thrill some of his Monster Jam fans in California. The score is 13, so he falls well short of the leader, Blue Thunder. Well, here's a guy who's expected to give Blue Thunder a run, Neil Elliott. Look at the air right off the bat for maximum destruction. Of course, this team has 2 drivers, Neil Elliott and Tom Meents, and Tom, driving this truck, has won 7 world championships. Well, Neil is a key piece of this team and certainly has learned from the best. He learned his trade from Tom Meents, and as you can see already, the signature maximum destruction move, the biggest air anyone can attain. They seem to do that about everywhere they go, and already he has given us some of the biggest